Hey everybody, this is Tracy here for another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to recap Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 10, Episode 5, which was titled Petty Party. So we're going to start off with Kim. After Kenya calls Kim out for pimping out Brielle for the John Legend tickets. Remember when we left off in the last episode, they was about to throw down at Nene's party. She tries to run up on Kenya and they are restrained by security, of course. So Kim ends up throwing her phone at Kenya, and I think it hit the table or it hit something that was on the table, but we hear some glass breaking. So Croy comes in and walks Kim out of Nene's house, to calm her down. So she starts crying and begs Croy to let her walk back in Nene's house and so she can lay hands on Kenya. And I'm just like, seriously, Kenya? Like, that wasn't even believable. So in her confessional, Cynthia says, although she doesn't ever advocate for someone to make shady comments about someone else's kids, she doesn't think that Kim was going to back down until Kenya responded. So Kenya was forced to talk about Brielle and call Brielle a whore and all this other stuff. So Nene goes outside to try and calm Kim down and get her to come back inside. But in her confessional, she says that Kim opened herself up to the shade by tweeting what she did about the John Legend tickets. And I can't remember, did Kim make the tweet or did Brielle make the tweet? But either way, it was inappropriate, no matter who made the tweet or Brielle, to be offering to give a grown married man a dang on blowjob for some doggone concert tickets. And I think that Kim makes enough money that she could have bought Brielle some front row tickets. So Kim leaves the party, because she's all upset. So then they decide to go to Portia's house. So I forgot that Portia lives near. So is this the house that Portia's in now? Is that the house that's in Nene's neighborhood, or was that the previous house? Well, I guess it's this house. Anyway, they decide for some reason to go to Portia's house. So her, Corey, and Sheree. And then I thought it was funny that Kim and Sheree came to the party together, right? Why was Croy outside waiting in the car? Like, okay, did that go over everybody's head? Like, why Croy didn't come inside to the party and why he didn't have on his all white? But anyway, they get to Portia's, and so Portia, and the child over there playing with them wigs, and so somebody ring the doorbell. They go to the door like, oh my God, what's going on? So Kim, comes in and tells Portia that she got into it with Kenya and said, I almost had to beat that bitch and F her up. So, I don't think that's how it was going to go down, Kim. But anyway, so Kim tells Sheree and Portia that Kenya also said something about her son getting injured by a dog. But Sheree says that she didn't hear Kenya say anything about her son. And I don't remember, they was talking so fast and cussing and carrying on. Y'all know once they start all that, I kind of like tune out. So I honestly did, so Sheree says that she honestly did not hear Kenya say anything about Kim's injured son. So she's standing by that. So Portia, with her ditzy self, says that Portia was so wrong for this, but she's so dumb. I don't even think she realized she said it. But Portia said, like it's a wrap after that. You don't mention someone's children, period, and your injured son and your whole daughter. I was like, Portia, did you just call that woman's son a hoe? So there's like a bit of a short pause, as the camera go from face to face, because nobody can believe that Portia said what she said. So they all looking all surprised and everything. So then Portia... So then Portia and Kim, they start to shade Cynthia and accuse her of always taking Kenya's side. They're back at the party. Kenya tells Nene, Marlo, and Cynthia that Brielle actually came for her first on social media by accusing her of having a fake husband. So I don't know why Brielle is in grown folks' business. So she says that she didn't respond to Brielle out of respect, but she's not going to let Kim play her in person. Like, that ain't gonna happen. So Cynthia says that she feels Like Kenya was on her best behavior, and Kim came for her first. And in her confessional, Nene says that she feels like Cynthia is doing the most to defend Kenya, and Kenya wouldn't do the same for her, which is probably true. So there we go over to Kenya. So we learned that Kenya's grandmother passed away, and she's taking it hard because that was the only mother that she ever known. And so this was the lady, is actually her dad's mother. And I guess when Kenya's mom said she was going to put the baby up for adoption, the lady said, no, give it to me and I'll take her. Cynthia comes by Kenya's house, to show some support and give her some flowers, about the grandmother. And Kenya said that her grandmother had Alzheimer's, but she was the last person she recognized. But Bravo comes with the receipts. And so remember when they did that little fake impromptu family reunion, and so the lady obviously had no clue who Kenya was. So Bravo made sure they was gonna be messy and re-rolled that footage of the lady obviously having no clue who these people was at this party. So Kenya breaks down crying because she found a video of the grandmother explaining, that she told Kenya's biological mother not to give Kenya away because she wanted to raise her. So Kenya says that Mark met the grandmother and her whole face lit up. She said she was just smiling, and I knew that she waited until she knew I had somebody to take care of me before she went on to glory. And I'm like, okay, Kenya, we're going to roll with you. We ain't going to shade you too much because, losing a grandparent is a hard thing to deal with. So before Cynthia leaves, she asks Kenya, if she's going to San Francisco. And so Kenya says that she's not sure because she needs to check with Mark first and see what he says she should do. And so I wonder if Cynthia, like when she's doing these scenes with Kenya, if she be like cracking up inside, like do they have to do like multiple takes because Cynthia busts out laughing in Kenya's face? Or do she really believe this nonsense about this husband and about Mark that Kenya be rolling out to her? So there we go to Candy. So Candy's still having guilt about leaving her kids behind to perform. So I was like, okay, Candy. So I guess this will be her storyline for the whole season. So we need to get used to it. So she stops by the studio and has a chat with Don Juan, about, how she's feeling. So then she tells Don Juan that Sheree was coming by also. So Sheree comes by, to spill the tea, but Don Juan says that they need to get confirmation on this tea because Sheree be messing up stories and putting stuff in that didn't really happen. Then Candy, let Sheree know that she just got back from New York from doing the Essence cover and, how excited she was and, she didn't tell nobody. So before Sheree could spill the tea, Don Juan admits that before she came in, he had shaded her, and said that they was going to have to get some receipts about this information she was about to give. So she tells them that Nene's all-white party, was a bust, and how Kenya and Kim got into it. And she says that she didn't hear Kenya say anything about Kim's injured son, but Kim is sticking with that story. So then, Sheree brings up about the trip to San Francisco and how she wants everybody to go. So Candy's sitting there like she's really got to think this thing over. So then she asks who all was going. So Sheree was naming off who was going. So then Candy says that, she'll just have to be cordial with Portia for the sake of things. And that she definitely will be going on this trip because she hoping that Kim and Kenya will cause some drama and she don't want to miss nothing. She want a front row seat to all of this here. So Noelle and Cynthia, they go out on like a mother-daughter outing. They're going to decorate some cupcakes. So Noelle tells Cynthia that she's rethinking moving to Charlotte to be with her boyfriend because she thinks that him and her, should live their own lives before getting so serious and, making such a big decision. So she says that the guy is one of those all or nothing guys. Like he wants to be in the relationship, moving forward. He doesn't want, he wants everything to be perfect. And so when she told him that, she was reconsidering, he said that, it's best that they break up because that's not what he's looking for. So Noelle says that she believes that everything happens for a reason and God has a purpose and a plan in all of this. And so, of course, Cynthia is proud because she raised Noelle to be an independent young woman, and then she quickly changes the subject, to gloat about Will and to tell Noelle all about, her date and how fascinated she is with her new man. Over at Nene's, Greg gets some good news. He tells Nene that the doctor says that he's doing much better and they have taken him off of some of the medication he was on. I think he had said that he was on like 9 different medications. So Nene says that she's relieved to hear this because, she was very worried about him. So she tells him, about the San Francisco trip, and he tells her that she can go, that Brent's there, Brent can help him and, make sure that he's okay. And so Greg says that he's going to pray for the girls while they are on that trip, that they don't kill one another. And I say, like, with all the fighting and carrying on be taking place, Greg just be in the background like, sipping his lemonade. Like, y'all ain't about to kill me out here with all this arguing, cussing, and fussing. So it's time for the ladies to leave for their trip. So Cynthia gets a FaceTime with Will, and he lets her know that he has access to a boat and he wants to take her out, when she returns. And so Portia was in the grocery store with Lauren, expressing that the trip may not be a good idea since she's now a baby vegan. So she needs to pack her some snacks and everything that she can take so she doesn't break her diet. And then we have a scene where Marlo arrives at Nene's house. And so it looks like Nene spends all her money on red bottom shoes because she got like 2 wardrobe closets that's probably the size of my bedroom. And in this closet, like one of the rooms had all these shoes, and it was like every pair of shoes had been about 100 pair of shoes, and all of them seemed to have red bottoms. So Nene jokes that Marlo led her to step up her fashion game. Remember when they was at that charity softball game, and Marlo was throwing all that shade at Nene about how she couldn't dress, and her weave was messed up, her teeth was messed up, her clothes was messed up, and everything. So Nene said she learned, she listened, she took heed, and she won't never give Marlo the opportunity to talk about her like that again. So then Nene tells Marlo about the trip to San Francisco and invites Marlo to come along and says that she's not going to tell anybody. She wants it to be a surprise. So coincidentally, Marlo is on her way to California to pick up a new car. So it's just like, y'all got to do better with writing these storylines. So Nene tells Marlo that she feels like Cynthia does the most to defend Kenya, and it's annoying her. So Marlo asks if Nene would be okay with Portia being there. And so then Nene reminds her that Portia said that the door is closed, the door is closed, the door is closed. I don't know why Nene is so mad at Portia. But storyline. So, what happened? Oh, so Portia and Candy are the first ones to meet Sheree at the airport. And so Portia even tried to make a joke about Candy, overpacking for the trip, but Candy just rolled her eyes and ignore and go over to the check-in counter. So Sheree tells them that Kim's not coming on the trip, as a result of the explosion, that took place at Nene's party. So Cynthia then walks up and notices that it's still very awkward between Portia and Candy. She hopes that this doesn't affect the trip. So when the girls get on the bus in San Francisco, Sheree finally, acknowledges the fact that there's a lot of tension, and so she don't want this to ruin her trip. Remember, this trip was supposed to be therapeutic for her so she could reflect and come up with a way that she's going to tell her kids about, her domestic violence with Bob. So Sheree says that, she has a life coach who advised her to go on the trip. And then Nene says that's excellent, but warns her not to take her advice. Like, she could be her life coach, but if she takes her advice, she's going to hear the truth, and that she don't think Sheree is ready for the truth, and that's why she went on and hired this man. So then Portia rolls her eyes because she knew that Nene was making a jab at her. So they first start discussing when all of them had relations. So I don't know how that came about, but they want to know who's screwing and who ain't screwing, and when the last time they screwed. So then Candy, I can't remember, one of them asked Portia when was the last time she had sex, and Portia said that it had been about 5 months. So then Candy starts laughing, and they're like, girl, please. And then Portia was like, well, why you don't believe me? Why is that so funny? And I don't think Candy ever answered the question. So then Sheree says that she hasn't had relations in a while because her man is locked up. So she confirms, that she's dating Tyrone. And then I think we got a clips at some point during the show where they rolled the film back. So remember when Sheree and Nene was in the restaurant and they got into the argument and Sheree was telling Nene to get her mouth fixed and all that. So evidently they was talking about this Tyrone guy during that conversation. So, that came up. So then Nene, she's surprised that Sheree is dating Tyrone. And she says that she's also known Tyrone for years, but had no idea that him and Sheree were even still in touch, let alone been in a relationship with each other. So she said that they stopped talking. Well, Sheree said that they stopped talking before he went away to prison, and she didn't even know that he was locked up for a while, and she felt that he had cut off contact with her because he didn't want her to be caught up in, his shenanigans and get her in any trouble. So Candy is just happy that Sheree is telling her own business and thanks Jack Daniels for that, because she said normally Sheree telling everybody else business and she keep all her stuff to herself. So to hear her actually opening up and being honest, that her man is in jail, that was a good change. So after they get settled in their hotel room, Nene sneaks off and goes to see Marlo. And, Marlo is so extra. She had on like this black veil with some bunny ears or something going on. I don't know what that outfit was all about, but Lord have mercy. At dinner, Sheree has on the same sweatsuit that she traveled in. So when Candy came downstairs, because when they got checked into the hotel, they were supposed to be going upstairs to their rooms to take a nap and get refreshed and everything. So when Candy gets there, she's like, why we had to wait 2 hours to eat? Because y'all know Candy be about that food. And so she was like, and if you were still going to be wearing the same clothes that you had on, why do we have to get dressed up and get refreshed and everything? So, like, Candy, sit down. Your food coming. So Kenya comes down, she's still mourning and saying that, she was working on a video tribute for her grandmother and getting everything together for the program. So Nene and Marlo come in. So they stroll up to the dinner together and everyone is surprised to see Marlo. However, Sheree is glad that she's there because she knows that Marlo is a magnet for the truth. And when it comes to this group, nobody gets it started like Marlo gets it started. So Sheree tells Nene and Portia, to put their issues on the table. Like, I don't know why we always got to be telling folks that when the group get together, y'all done traveled all the way to San Francisco to have a fight between Portia and Nene. I don't understand. So Nene says that Portia has closed the door on their friendship. So they start arguing about, who is angry about the situation more. And Portia once again accuses Nene of trying to get her fired. And Nene says that Portia is the one who got Phaedra fired. And, then tucked her tail and ran off after she threw Phaedra under the bus. And then Kenya makes some little snide remark about what's the difference between angry and being upset? Aren't they the same thing? But actually, Kenya, they are not the same thing. When somebody is upset, that is an emotion where they're feeling bad, about something somebody said or did to them. When somebody is angry, that is another emotion, and that means that they're about to kick you behind if you don't get out their face. So two totally different things. So Portia says that Phaedra is accountable for her own actions, and this annoys Candy since she feels that Portia hasn't been accountable for her actions and the role that she played, even though Portia doesn't apologize to her about this foolishness. So in her confessional, Nene says that she had Portia's back. What did she say? She had Portia's back after she attacked Kenya and prevented her from being fired back then. But Portia seems to have forgotten all about that. And then Nene was shaking her head so hard while her and Portia was fighting that she had her hair pulled up in a bun, and the bun started coming undone. And then that thing go crazy, crazy, crazy Marlo. Nene doing all of this here, and then Marlo up there trying to fix the bun and twist the bun and stick the pins back into her head. And I was like, Marlo always got jokes. She always got jokes. But like they say, you want a friend that's going to fix your bun while you in the middle of an argument. So Nene says that Portia comes for her on Dish Nation, and she's over it, and she wants to roll the tapes. So Bravo does and shows that Portia was not coming for her, that it was actually the brat that had asked a question about Nene, but it wasn't like Portia was being mean-spirited or saying anything nasty or negative about Nene. Kenya in and says that Portia, was always the one who had her back when they, first met her and everything. And so this sets Nene off. And the episode ends with both Nene and Portia saying, F you, F you, F you, F you. They were going back and forth. And I don't know why Nene keeps denying saying that he should fire Portia. Yes, you never came out and said Andy, Portia should be fired. Yes, you was like freaking frack or freaking frock or, mispronouncing their names, that they needed to go, but she felt that Portia needed to be punished, but she swears that she never said Portia should be fired. So that was the end of that episode. I thought they were getting better and getting along better, but now that we done had 2 episodes that have ended with fights. So I hope this is not going to be the theme for the season. So you guys, let me know what you thought about this episode. Leave your comments below. Rate the video. Subscribe to the channel. Share the video on your social media platforms. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.